News, events, sports. Same time, same place, right in the heart of Isla Vista. UCSBTV is serving UC Santa Barbara and the surrounding community with real journalism.
Hello and welcome back to UCSBTV, UCSB's weekly newscast bringing students all of these sports, news, and events you need to know for this week. My name is Alexandra Goldberg, UCSB-TV producer, and thank you for tuning in. It's a new quarter here at UCSB, which means new professors, new classrooms, and maybe you've made your way into the new building on campus. The Interactive Learning Pavillon right next to the Davidson Library is finally open for learning. We took a tour through the building to show you some of the innovative features included in the design. The three-day party Deltopia, an infamous weekend for UCSB students, is now behind us. UCSB-TV events anchor Pricila Flores has Deltopia by the numbers. She spoke with the Isla Vista Foot Patrol and Santa Barbara County Fire about how emergency services responded to incidents over the weekend.
Thank you, Alex. Days after the Santa Barbara County Fire Department titled, quote, mass casualty event, students returned to classes and the trash has been picked off of Del Playa. Yeah, it is really only now that officials can grasp what really occurred within the three-day party weekend known as Deltopia. Deltopia, which officially ended on Sunday, April 9th, left officials with statistics they are still looking over. Here's what we know. The Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office issued 151 citations and 23 arrests. And according to the Sheriff's Office, the crowds were the largest on Saturday and were higher than the previous year. Joining us today to recap the weekend is Lieutenant Deslaw. The press release mentions that Deltopia was bigger this year than last year. Why do you think so?
We definitely saw an influx of out-of-towners and people attending from other universities that we haven't seen over the last couple of years, particularly during the COVID years. We did have some outside promotion companies that were hosting illegal and unpermitted parties at some of the apartment complexes. Definitely was driven a lot by out-of-town groups this year.
What were some of the common citations and arrests made?
The citations were the kind of things you'd expect to see in an event like this. The large majority of them were people who had open containers of alcohol or minors who were in possession of alcohol. A small handful of arrests for being drunk in public, four arrests for fighting in public, 2 felony assaults on law enforcement officers as well.
Why do you think there were more arrests and citations this year?
Yeah, Saturday was definitely the busiest day. Friday was more activity than we would typically see on a Friday night, but nothing crazy. Saturday, we saw what we expect to be a final crowd count of around 15,000 people. The biggest issue we have and why we're so concerned about this event are the medical emergencies that happen as a result of this. You know, our role in arrests or citations, but really our biggest role is public safety. And this year we had 60 medical calls for Saturday alone. That's 2 times higher than all of last year for Friday, Saturday, Sunday combined, which is a huge strain on local emergency services like the paramedics, the fire department, and really, most importantly, the hospitals. 37 people were treated at the triage tent and then 33 people were actually transported to the hospital that day. And that's 3 times higher than 2022. We've had several people who were admitted to the hospital with very dire prognosis. And unfortunately, we're still waiting to see if they're going to be able to recover from that or not.
The Santa Barbara County Fire Department also was on call for medical emergency. UCSB-TV was able to connect with Scott Safechuck, the fire captain of the Santa Barbara County Fire Department. Thank you, Captain, for joining us. To begin, how many times were you and your team called out?
Sure. Well, what I'll tell you is that we had Santa Barbara County Fire pre-positioned and upstaffed for this event. So it means we bring extra people on duty and we have capability with paramedics as well as water rescue capability in the South Coast here. So between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m., we had approximately 60 medical emergencies that we responded to between El Colegio and Del Playa. So basically the Isla Vista area.
And what were some of the reasons that you were called out for?
We had 1 cardiac arrest of a 20-year-old that was transported to Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital. We had no bluff incidents. So we didn't have anyone falling off a bluff, and we had no balcony issues either. Most of the type of issues that we dealt with were alcohol or drug related. And we did have quite a few falls. People were intoxicated and falling and getting, minor trauma from that, scrapes and bumps, or some scratches to their face as well. There was no injuries to law enforcement or fire.
You feel like you and your team were well prepared for this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. We are prepared for any type of incident, and this is just one type of incident that we're used to dealing with, whether it's a major vehicle accident, an airplane crash, vehicles over the side. Deltopia is just one more incident that we deal with.
Thank you for Lieutenant D. Slot and Captain Safe Chuck for joining us today. As of now, officials are still coming through statistics, and UCSB TV will update more when we know. Thank you for joining.
That was events anchor Pricila Flores recapping Deltopia weekend with community first responders. Up next, a new building on campus to serve as a lecture hall and study space has opened up for spring quarter. News anchor Rebecca Fairweather got an inside look.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Hurtado Fairweather. I'm your news reporter, and you're watching UCSB TV. Students walking past the library may have noticed a new building added to UCSB's skyline. The new Interactive Learning Pavillon has recently opened its doors on UCSB's campus, accommodating up to 2,000 students. The new building features outdoor seating, study areas, classroom space, and lecture halls that seek to make learning at UCSB a bit easier. The building has been divided into 3 parts with an open-air layout, allowing students to have more space to travel to and from classes without disrupting others. The first floor is dedicated to outdoor seating and study areas, giving students the opportunity to bask in sunlight while completing their studies. Lecture halls are also a feature of the first 2 floors, aiming to hold 175 to 350 students. These halls were designed in a tiered horseshoe to make small group work easier and ensure maximum visibility. There are 20 classrooms that can hold up to 30 students that are equipped with glass whiteboards, movable chairs and tables, and new high-tech projectors aimed at making smaller sections easier for students and teachers. More indoor study rooms have also been added to the building, providing more access to quiet spaces across campus. These study rooms, unlike the library, do not have to be reserved prior. 3 project-based learning rooms are purposefully designed to encourage and facilitate small group learning. These rooms allow students to have access to a computer monitor, a glass whiteboard, movable microphones, and multiple perspective projections.
To be honest, I think it's just another classroom building for us, so it does provide more classes, I would hope. At least from my understanding of the cost, the original plan, I don't think it was executed maybe as well as it could have been. Especially, I found out today that there was supposed to be a bike path, like that was a part of the original design, and yet there is no bike path. I do like the upstairs balcony areas. I think those are fun. It's nice to be able to be outside and working. The balcony has a table all around the outside with some bar stool chairs, and I was doing some reading out there, and it was really relaxing and peaceful, being able to work outside. But the study rooms are always really packed, which makes sense. It's a new building. It's convenient to wait there before your classes, but yeah, they're also pretty small, so less students can actually be inside.
As spring quarter is in full swing, the Interactive Learning Pavilion is ready for the limitless possibilities that UCSB has to offer. With UCSB TV, I'm Rebecca Hurtado Fairweather, your news anchor.
Your news anchor, Rebecca Fairweather, with a complete tour of the Interactive Learning Pavilion on campus. Thank you so much for tuning in to UCSB TV. Be sure to stay up to date with our social media and check out our website for a deeper look into this week's stories. I'm your producer, Alexandra Goldberg. Thank you for tuning in to UCSB TV. We'll see you next week for another newscast.